this is a slightly more detailed overview of my ex-A&E neonatal ambulance that I've nicknamed Was. This vehicle has done 300,000 miles. The quality of the fittings in here I think are pretty good. So let's just discuss what I might do with this. That area to me is screaming out kitchen. It's pretty much equipped already, with one exception. I would like to make a walkthrough. So I'm hoping I can do a bit of juggling. That chair will come out and the metal platform it's on will come out. That chair has also got a baby seat in it. It actually folds down. Those drawers are all on nice substantial runners, and hopefully we can reuse that drawer unit. I may not do a walkthrough, but I'd like to. I've got to look a bit harder at where all the wiring goes. In the overhead lockers, on the right, that's the Espacia air conditioning unit. This vehicle doesn't have driver aircon or cab aircon, unfortunately. It's the only thing I would like to have had, frankly. But if I do a walkthrough, we'll be able to benefit from the aircon through in here anyway. That top cabinet in the middle there with the grille, that's a comms cabinet. It may have had part of the radio in there. There's some wiring up there that's indicates something's been removed. But what it has got is a PVR, a recorder. And as you can see, there's cameras there. There are cameras on the outside, and there is also a camera in the driver's mirror. This was a 4-channel recorder. It's still working. I've had a discussion with the company that provides the software, and I will credit them when I get their permission. I'm hoping I can actually make use of it somehow, even if just as a rear view camera system and everything else. But that was the original comms cabinet. I think there may have been a crash recorder or some other kind of device up there as well. It's been removed, there's a lot of cabling up there. Or it may be that other stuff was part of the radio. The main radio was in a box between the driver and passenger seat in the front of the van. But there are LED lights. The batteries are disconnected at the moment, so there's nothing switched on. But there are LED lights operated by switches in all the cabinets. Probably better I can show that one there. You probably can't see it. It's right at the back there. They're very substantial units. They're very well made. Much stronger than wrong way. Much stronger than the units that are in or were in Thistle. I'm going to keep as many of these as possible. Now, what we have also got is grab rails all over the ceiling. There is a glass. It is actually a glass skylight, not plastic. It has a blind and a fly screen. That light unit there is LED. The light units along the sides are just standard fluorescence. There is a Xantex inverter control panel there. Unfortunately, the Xantex inverter was liberated from this van before I bought it. They're very expensive, the Xantex, and I probably won't bother. I've got a Sterling Power inverter spare, which I'll probably use, and I think that this Sterling Power inverter may even fit in the same hole. There's the 12-way Genesis control panel there. It's not the original one that came with the van. I was lucky enough to be able to get one on eBay for £15. It works, although the buttons don't match up with what it does. But the switches perform the function, and the wiring diagrams which you've got in that folder over there, I've got a whole set of wiring diagrams from the manufacturers. That's got on one of the wire diagrams has a legend that tells me what those buttons actually do, and the buttons do match up with the functions. It's got connections for incubators, 12 volts, big heavy duty 12 volt supply for the incubator, mains, sockets, and oxygen outlets in little teeny weeny alcoves. We'll probably use those for something else. But that entire panel there is removable. That's effectively an axis panel there's probably a lot of cabling behind there, but the vast majority of the cabling runs in trunking where all the lights are. It's very accessible. I don't believe there's very much cabling going through the roof at all. I will find out when I take all the lights down. Immediate thoughts for conversion will be to add a little bit more insulation to the roof and get rid of a lot of the ancillaries. We don't need, for example, it's got a panic system. Again, the recorder, DVR recorder, will record if these red strip buttons are pushed. There's one there, there's one by the attendant's seat, and it's also got voice activation as well, so that it will actually tell the driver that the attendant needs assistance. I will play that and record that at a later date when I get some batteries connected up. It has two other passenger seats. Don't know whether they're oh, that's a bit burnt out there, isn't it? Not too sure whether they were for ambulance staff or parents or whatever. They swivel round. I've actually taken a screw out of this one, so it swivels further than it would. They're lovely seats. Think very hard whether we need to keep one or two of them, so that we can carry passengers in this should we want to. They're really nice quality seats. Again, the ones in my other ambulance, which ironically has done a third of the mileage this one, were worn, tatty, ruined, horrible things. But these look almost brand new, all three of them. They're lovely. It has double glazing and blinds, Venetian blinds, and that's very, very handy. All the walls are insulated. It's double skinned aluminium, and there is polyurethane foam between all the walls. As I said, may well add a little bit more to the ceiling, mainly to cover up all the holes we're going to end up with when we start removing some of these handholds and bits and pieces, but also because I've noticed we get some lines of condensation, so there's probably some metal reinforcement in the roof, and that's acting as a cold bridge. Reading the WAS website, these vehicles have been rollover tested. I think that's very nice to know. I've seen a few horrible videos of YouTube of very, very expensive, very, very nice looking motorhomes disintegrating in motorway accidents. I want to be safe in this thing. I don't want it disintegrating around me. I want to know that if I fall over, the integrity of the entire vehicle is intact. We'll have our dogs in here, for example, and I don't want them being destroyed in a thing made out of egg boxes and hardboard. That bothers me. But these have been rollover tested, and that's a great thing to know about. Now, layout. I've got a rusty wheel arch. That's going to be chopped out and repaired. That's probably where a bench is going to be for seating. Bed width. Same here. I will keep this plinth that these seats are bolted onto, even if the seats go. The heater outlet is underneath there. I'm not sure whether that's visible right here, but the heater outlet is underneath the seat there. We'll end up with two benches probably, there and there, that will convert to the bed width-wise. Or if we can get away with just one bench and some cupboards or something on the other side, that's what we'll do. This unit here will come out completely, and this is where the shower and toilet will go. This unit has got, I believe, the oxygen. Yeah. Emergency system, a warning system. That actually gives a speech warning if there's a supply problem with the air bottles. And if I click any of those two switches there, the nice lady tells me that the oxygen in your air is low. There are the tank carriers there. That's all coming out. So are the pieces of equipment on the wall over there. But I haven't started dismantling this fan yet. Something I did notice in this fan, build quality is brilliant, but these three cabinets, they rattle. That would have driven me nuts if I'd been in the back of this van regularly as an ambulance operator, and I'm surprised that it hasn't got some little sticky bungs on there. Up above, is this going to come out or is it going to... sunlight may be getting in on this one, I'm not sure. Right. That's an extractor fan. It's controlled by the panel on the wall. It needs a clean. If anybody's got these in their ambulances, above there is filthy. That's going to get cleaned. But it drops down like that, and it can be set to extract or what's the opposite of extract? Suck, blow. this is going to effectively end up smack in the middle of the bathroom, so I'll end up with some vents probably in the bathroom doors or walls so they can actually extract when Karen's cooking. We haven't got the windows open, but it's a very useful bit of kit. I think it only works with the ignition on, but I'll have to change that. This van has got double doors. Some of the vans you see for sale, the ramp is the door. Project Amber's was originally like that. Let me just close this door here. Project Amber's was like that, so we ended up having to make a new door. I'm lucky enough, we've got double doors, although there is potentially a problem down there. It looks like it may have had a repair. I understand it's quite common for the operators to forget to close the doors properly and then clamp them with the ramp and smash them. Also, I'm waiting for a replacement lock. The door lock doesn't work properly, so I'm waiting for a replacement lock for that. It shuts, I just wouldn't want to drive it at the moment. We've got another cabinet over here, which we'll probably use as a wardrobe. This is accessible from both, well, this has got doors on both sides. But that will probably become the wardrobe and other bits and pieces. It's a split cupboard. It's got a 12-volt socket in it. With that, is that going to show? Just, yeah. But there's also a door on the outside, because this, you can see, this is not the full depth. Very useful. Don't think it's quite big enough for a gas bottle on the outside, but certainly it's going to be very useful for dog leads and stuff that gets wet and all sorts of things that we can put in there. What else can I tell you? Something we thought was quite hilarious. I'll just walk back into the vehicle now. Try not to bang the camera. And useful. It's got a whiteboard. We'll be using that as when I do the build. That would be very handy. But it's got a whiteboard. Another panic strip there for the operators. More oxygen connections. All of these will be coming out. All the cabling. As I say, by putting a new piece of insulation in the ceiling and some other form of sealing material, sealing treatment, I can lose all the holes there where the pipes are. This cupboard here I like. Swing round. Whether we can keep it I don't know, because I say it's sitting on top of this metal box, but look at this. Almost perfect for jars, food, everything really, tins. Brilliant thing. I don't know what it can carry weight wise. There's a whole list of things that used to be in it on there. Paper towel dispenser up there, radio and intercom volume controls on the wall there. You can tell it was a child neonatal ambulance. There's lots of little logos and graphics and things for the kids to look at while they're in the ambulance. I've taken out the stretcher supports. I'm very curious to know what these are. I think they're tie downs. That, if you put a screwdriver under it, that pops up by about 10mm. I think they're designed as tie downs. They're huge bolts underneath. They don't actually secure the vehicle to any part of the chassis. They just bolt through. But because it's a sprung loaded, what I think is a tie down, the actual threaded part is quite enormous. But I'm going to leave those in. We may actually end up changing the floor, but they're too big to take out. We'll use them because they may actually be useful as tie downs. We're very lucky. Helicopter coming. There's no unistrut in this van at all. I haven't got miles and miles of unistrut to pull out. So that's the inside of the van as I bought it. And as I said, it arrived minus that control panel. The inverter's been robbed out. 2 of the batteries are gone, were taken rather. It has got full-blown Dispatcher. That's a combined heating and aircon controller, so you can just set it to auto and it will either turn the heater on or the aircon as and when required. The heater is in the stepney. You can just see the air inlet there, and as I said, the heater outlet is on the other side of the step. So the D4 heater's there. I've had it running for about a minute, but I think I mentioned in the previous video this vehicle had a diesel leak which I've now fixed. So I didn't want to run it with diesel pouring into the V of the engine. I'm not a great fan of diesel. What else can I tell you about? Not a great deal. There's a fire extinguisher. Very handy to have a fire extinguisher. There are various handholds and bits and pieces which may or may not keep. On one of the forums I asked about... Oh, somebody's bringing tea. Pause. I asked on one of the forums for ideas about something I could fit externally onto Thistle as a poop bin basically for dog mess. Well, there is a external box which clips into a very interesting bracket and that may have solved my problem. In this van I will put the bracket on in the outside locker, but it just occurred to us, you know, we've got 3 dogs, we will be taking them with us. Occasionally you have to clear up, especially if you're wild camping. You can't always bury stuff, and I don't want to have bags of inside the vehicle, even if we're only going to drive a mile or 2 and find a bin for it. So I'm going to put a couple of external bins, and this may be one of them, purely for doggy doos and so on and so forth. There's a little graphic up there, you see. There's various bits and pieces. It tells you this ambulance served a very special purpose. Right, I'll pause now because there's not really much more to tell you about. The next video I will do of the inside is probably after I've stripped everything out, and when I've managed to get some of the electrics working. I can actually then show you some of the daft systems this has got and just confirm what does and doesn't work. I haven't got all the lights going yet, for example. There is a everything on button there, but it doesn't seem to turn everything on, so I've got a bit of experiment to do. So I'll now go and do the outside of the van.